don't stay small. Puke Puke Fonua. Puke Puke Halfcast. Stay loud. Puke Puke Fonua. Spitting on the airwaves now. Puke Puke Fonua. Puke Puke Puke. Truth in the sound.
Malolele world, welcome to the Puke Puke Fonua Halfcast. Not a podcast, but a halfcast. The meaning of the word Puke Puke Fonua is one of the ancient, ancient language. Puke Puke Fonua is another word for history. In Tongan, it means holding on to the land. And, kind of translate that into the same thing as the history, the wisdom, and knowledge that we keep as the people of the land. My last episode, I was speaking about the Moana Empire, and this is episode 2. So hopefully you guys had the opportunity to watch episode 1 in regards to the little video of Chief of Wars when they were getting ready to go to war, and how the little evidence that they have in that show leads to the foundation and the truth of the Moana Empire. So this next information I wanted to share with you all is, another evidence of the history of the Moana Empire. So if you see here, I don't know where I'll put it right here. So right here, right, there's this. This is the image of behind of the Moai, right? They spell it as M-O-A-I or M-O-A apostrophe I. So it can be Moai or Moai. But we'll just say Moai because that's what's familiar with everybody. Once again, if you look at this picture, right, with the back of the Moai, what do you see? Right, we see the two birds that are praising somebody, right? It's like they're praying and they're on their knees and praying onto a god and whatnot. But if you also look at the top of the Moai's head, there's another bird there, right? Once again, the imperial symbol was the birdman. Also, the other symbol was the rooster. It's also the moa, And when we translate the moa today, we know as a chicken. But back then, in ancient times, moa and manu were the same meaning for bird. And if you really look at our culture and see how it translates into our crafts, like with the feathers, you look at Tahiti and the French Polynesia area, a lot of them has to do with the feathers and these beautiful different colors of feathers. And what's interesting, if you really look at the other west coast of South America and that coastal area, you look at their culture and they utilize the feather to a crazy extent, right? Like they're all about the moa feather, which, you can learn more about the other god that they praised back then, especially specifically with the Mayans, is Quetzalcoatl. The serpent god, and also same thing with the feather. And when we really look at it, it's still a bird, right? So coming back to the Moai, when you look at that picture, it's something interesting, right? So I want to show you another picture. So check out this picture right here. This right here is evidence to me that the Kava circle has been practiced since the beginning of the Moa Empire. And when you look at this circle, the infrastructure and the structure of the actual circle is built to where, for a lot of us that do Kava, when you sit in a Kava circle, you are not, the Kava is only useful when you have something to bring to the table. Knowledge-wise, something to bring to the conversation, because the whole point of the Kava circle back then was to share information and to teach one another how to have a live life better, or share the new technology or the new wisdom for farming or fishing, or building a house, or even the Stonehenges, the ruins throughout the Pacific. Like the Kava Circle is where these I don't want to say ideas, but this information was shared, was in this Kava Circle. Now, if you look at how the Kava Circle is structured out, where you have the leader at the top, right, the Ovaha, and then on the sides is where all the Matapudes, or the high chief, sit within that circle. And then now, when you look at the bottom of the circle, you have the Kumete there, and you have the Toa, and then you have the other Matapudes sit along the side. Then you can also see that there's a pathway to come in for the servants to serve the Kava, right? Let's pause there. If you really take time to look at the infrastructure of this circle, you can literally see how the culture of the Moa Empire was structured. However, this information, you can say it's been lost, but I've been following, I call the people I follow and study their research, they're scholars to me, and because they put their work into it, that for me, it's amazing, because they spend their own money, they spend their own time, especially time away from their families, or sometimes they'll probably take their family with them to go do these researches. And these are, for me, like solid Pacific Islanders that are really out there putting in this work. So most of my work that I will be speaking on will be coming from a scholar named Tu'ula Moa, and also David Tafale. And then, there's other scholars too, especially Professor Dr. Futahelu. He was the one that inspired me about Tongan history, then led into Pacific Islander history. And then through Pacific Islander history, I started to learn more about the Moana Empire, right? But, again, you've seen that Kava Circle picture. Now let's take a look at the back of the Moai picture here. Okay? Now that you've seen the Kava Circle diagram, what do you see in the back of the Moai? Pause there for a second and take a look. What do you see here? It's crazy, right? Because not just because you see birds, but you see the civilization and the government of the Moana Empire. Who's at the top? The Ovaha. Right? That's the king, the god at that time. Then the two that runs around the circle that represents the Matapules, or the Ho'ekis, or the high chiefs that are invited to be in the circle, or have the authority and right to be in the circle. And then what's at the bottom? Right? What's at that bottom? It's the Kumete. You feel me? So, for those that are out there, that hates the Fight Kava Circle, that goes against the Kava drinking, I get it. I get it, because in today's society, they're not practicing the right ordinances of the Fight Kava. And I feel that if we went back to the right ways, the righteous ways of the Kava Circle, we wouldn't be, we wouldn't be individually prideful of just one island. We would be prideful of the liquid soil that we call the Moana. Not Polynesia, not Melanesia, not Micronesia. I feel like it's just the Moana. Because this is the crazy part. Because we're part of the Moana Empire, everybody around the world is our family. Why is that? Because the Moana touches every soil on this earth. And that's more to come, because I would like to share more and educate you all more about how we were mobilizing and maneuvering around the earth during the Neolithic era, moving big stones, all the way to Ireland, in Africa, Australia, the Americas. Like, it's just crazy to really think about it, but I don't want to get too much into crazy details. I like to keep my episodes short just because of our attention span nowadays is really short. So, but hell, this is episode 2 in regards to the information, evidence that helps us learn that the Moana Empire was the name of our empire as the Moana. So, thank you for watching, and I look forward to releasing more episodes. And once again, thank you for tuning in to Puke Puke Fonua Halfcast. Malo.